All right. Now that we have got everybody here, we're going to go ahead and call the April Planning Commission meeting to order. We'll start with our normal housekeeping items. Commissioner Black, our secretary's not here. Dylan, or Commissioner Edge will be filling in there. Can you take a roll for us, please?
Sure thing. Miller,
Here.
Choate, here. Black, Monfy, Hatley, Duffield, here. Edgell, here. Cothran, Claire,
Here.
and Keller.
We have a quorum. All right. Okay. We've all had an opportunity to look at the minutes from the last meeting here. What's your pleasure there?
Approve them.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the March meeting. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. All right. Item number 1. Minor plat for the Damascus Road addition located at 118 through 120 Damascus Road, submitted by Barrett & Associates on behalf of DNT Investors, LLC. You got a staff report on that, Victoria?
Yes, sir. So as stated, this is a minor plat at 118 through 122 Damascus Road. The existing conditions: this is a vacant property in the Marina Heights district that is planned for the development of 2 new single-family homes along Damascus Road. Damascus Road is a collector street that connects Marina Road to Riverview Road, which eventually connects to Hilltop Drive. The area is all zoned R1 single-family residential, and it is surrounded by single-family homes and empty wooded lots. Currently, the empty lots are being developed into single-family homes at this location. So under normal circumstances, this would be handled at the staff level. However, staff is only granted the authority to approve this type of incidental subdivision when all approval guidelines laid out in the Land Subdivision Development Code are met. And per Article 6.2.1, 2, in this case, is not met, as it states no vacation of streets, alleys, setback lines, access control, or easements is required or proposed. This application is to dedicate approximately 30 feet of right-of-way to ensure that there is sufficient right-of-way along Damascus Road. The dedication again includes 30 feet from the center line of Damascus. As the survey indicates, the current owner owns a portion of Damascus Road. Most properties along Damascus exist outside of a platted subdivision and therefore do not have dedicated right-of-way. So any new proposed subdivisions of land or development along Damascus Road where right-of-way has not been dedicated would also have to go through this same process to dedicate sufficient right-of-way for their half. The proposal does include a dedication, again, of approximately 30 feet along the eastern property lines in an acceptable alignment for Damascus Road. The legal description is correct and closes per our GIS department, and upon approval of this final plat, the applicant will submit the final survey with accurate dedication information provided in compliance with the Land Subdivision and Development Code, as outlined by Article 5.3 regarding the final plat. Lastly, the 2 lots that they have proposed do meet all area requirements as stated in the zoning code for the R1 zone. So with all that, staff does recommend approving the application for the incidental subdivision plat for the Damascus Road addition as a result of the findings below. The final plat conforms to the final plat requirements outlined in Article 6.2.1 of the Land Subdivision and Development Code. The right-of-way being dedicated is adequate for the street section now and with any future sidewalk or trail improvements. Both lots meet the minimum area requirements for the R1 zone, and then lastly, residential development is the highest and best use for this property. That is my staff report. Are there any questions?
All right. Thank you, Victoria. Mr. Garza, you got anything you want to add? Okay. All right. Commissioners?
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve this as submitted. All those in favor acknowledge by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. Okay. All right. Item number 2, special use permit to allow digital sign located at 800 Williamson Way, submitted by Ashton Smith on behalf of Christian and Missionary Alliance Church. You got a staff report for that?
Yes, sir. So this is a special use permit at 800 Williamson Way. The existing conditions, this is a location of an existing site of the Christian and Missionary Alliance Church, or Amazing Grace Fellowship, I believe. This is located within the Oakland neighborhood. It is a C4 neighborhood and quiet business zone property and is bordered by C4 to the south. Properties to the north and west are R2, and the property to the east is zoned C2. You guys probably recognize this property. We looked at it a couple months to rezone it to C4. So properties within this area include 2 other places of worship, a mixture of single-family and duplex dwellings, and then the Boys and Girls Club. So in our review, the proposed project for the property is a digital sign, and it could be in line with land uses in this district. There are other digital signs within this area, and this could be an appropriate use at this location. An adjacent residential property owner did come in and contact staff, and once we explained what the application was for, they had absolutely no opposition to it and had no issue with it. So we did just want to note that as well. Staff has confirmed the sign will meet all vision clearance requirements as outlined in Article 4.7, so meaning this won't cause any traffic issues, it shouldn't cause any blind spots when people are entering and exiting the church. Staff has also confirmed that the sign is well within the size and height requirements in Article 7.8, which outlines requirements for freestanding signs. And then lastly, the sign company has confirmed that the sign will be in line with the digital sign requirements outlined in Article 7.10. These are listed extensively in the staff report, but I didn't want to go through each one because it is quite a lot. But we have been assured by the sign company they will meet those that article, which addresses brightness, types of display messages, and mechanisms in place in the case of malfunction. So with all of that stated, it is staff's recommendation to approve the special use permit to allow the installation of a digital sign as a result of the findings below. The proposed sign will utilize the same location as the existing sign, and as such, should be outside of the vision clearance triangle. And 2, the applicant demonstrates compliance with the regulations within Article 7.7, 7.8, and 7.10 of the zoning code. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the sign and that. But more of a question, if the church became something else, it's sold to a different business, does this signage pass on to the business, and can they use that for profit, or does that, what are we voting on?
Yeah.
Specifically, or can that transfer without coming back?
Absolutely. So special use permits are tied to the property themselves, which is very funny. We actually had to ask our city attorney on this the other day about something else. So I can confirm they do run with the property. If you're talking about like an advertising sign, that is something that would have to come back to the Planning Commission. This type of digital sign can only advertise what is on the property. So it couldn't be something where they could sell ads. Does that address your question on that? Okay, perfect. Any other questions?
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you, Victoria.
Thank you, guys.
Is the applicant, is anybody representing the applicant here that hadn't signed up? Do you have anything else? You have anything you want to add, or?
I think that was a great question.
Okay, all right.
I actually,
If you would step to the microphone and state your name for the record, if you don't mind, please.
Hi, I'm Pastor Ozzie. So just one question. If approved today, when exactly do we have the allowance to proceed with installing it?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I can address it in the mic so that we have that for the record. All of that will be addressed in a letter of determination that goes out to the applicants the next day, so tomorrow. I believe, and I will double check, special use permits, Trey, if I'm not mistaken, go into effect 30 days, or would it be immediate? Immediate? It's not going, you're right, so it would be immediate, effective tomorrow. Sweet, yeah.
Any other questions?
I'll move to
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor of approving this request, acknowledge by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. Okay. Thank you, Pastor. All right, we have a zone text update to adopt proposed changes to the Russellville zoning code submitted by City of Russellville. You got a staff report on that?
Yes, sir, we do. As stated, this is an amendment to the zoning code, part of our regular meetings with the Long Range Planning Committee, and the changes are as follows. Amendments to the zoning code shall be considered after the Long Range Planning Committee, or LRPC, has reviewed to confirm that updates proposed are in alignment with the Reimagine Russellville 2040 Comprehensive Plan and other applicable city regulations, and will forward to the Commission for consideration after being thoroughly reviewed by the Long Range Planning Committee, LRPC. The LRPC meets quarterly to review and periodically update the zoning or land subdivision and development codes. On March 3rd, 2026, the LRPC met to discuss proposed changes. The following items were recommended by the committee to be advanced to the Planning Commission for consideration. The first change submitted was to Article 3.23.1, applicability of sidewalks. This update is intended to provide specific clarifications on what scenarios a sidewalk must be installed by residential developers, and allows for further flexibility in scenarios where installing a sidewalk either provides redundant connectivity or where a sidewalk connection meets the distance requirement but cannot be practicably connected to by residential development alone. It's not here, but staff does want to note that this specifically applies to infill development. This is not for subdivisions or new subdivision developments. Those still have a mandatory sidewalk installation requirement. The second change is to Article 12, definitions, specifically dwellings, townhouse, or row house. This update is intended to provide specific clarifications and close a loophole found by staff in the definitions of townhomes, which allowed for multiplex developments to be classified as townhomes without properly subdividing the individual units. This slide, if you would like to, I believe it's in your packets as well, but also on the screen. This is a set of figures designed to provide clarification or specific examples with regards to the change to Article 3.23.1, sidewalk applicability for those infill lot developments. These graphics were very graciously created by Ms. Marchant as well, I would like to note. And I'm happy to run back to these as well if and when there are questions. Therefore, in light of this, it is staff's recommendation that the application be forwarded to City Council with recommendation of approval in regards to the updates to Articles 3.23.1 and Article 12 of the Russellville Zoning Code based on the findings below, that the Long Range Planning Committee recommended these additions and updates. The updates provide clear guidance to staff, and the changes are consistent with the objectives outlined in the Reimagine Russellville 2040 Comprehensive Plan and the Russellville Zoning Code. Are there any questions for staff at this time? Yes, sir.
Clarification on it.
Yes.
These examples, did you get any feedback from developers on this?
We had the member of the development community come in our Long Range Planning Commission or committee meeting. Mr. Garza works closely with developers and has extensively heard their comments regarding our infill sidewalk policies in the zoning code. The recommendation seemed to work for what he has been hearing, and so we were happy to see. I would like to add that it did take a couple of long-range meetings to be able to settle on these examples and the definitions that we outlined in the changes. So we did have some input from the development community. Yes.
What I'm, I guess to simplify, what I'm looking for is
Sure.
that developers have given feedback on this.
We have.
When we implement this, we're not going to be arguing about it
Sure.
again.
Yes. We have not had specific comments from individual developers regarding this potential change, no.
But Baird Associates
As far as I know, yes, that is correct. Right, exactly. Absolutely.
Well, I guess to me, it's a big change from the last time we were having a lot of discussions about sidewalks. Improving the city to include sidewalks and continuity throughout the city was extremely important, and now it looks like we've changed our mind on that.
I can-
Is that what's happened?
Sort of, not really. In the sense that, yes, we are trying to allow for further flexibility for the development community and developers in Russellville who have voiced concerns. However, the fact that this specifically applies only to infill development and lots being developed in an infill manner, we felt that because we have a large number of infill lots that do sit vacant in the city, we felt that this change could encourage developing those individual parcels. I'd love to reiterate, again, this does not apply to new subdivisions or future large-scale developments or commercial developments. They would still be required to install sidewalks.
I think that the encouraging the development on infill parcels will, just out of necessity and to sell them, that the developers are going to want to do that more on their own and not be required to do that. But I think this is a good medium to generate development, and hopefully those things will come together. So I appreciate the push on that.
Thank you.
You want to go ahead and roll that over into a motion?
I'll move to approve that.
Okay. All right. We have a motion to accept.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor of approving this and sending it on to City Council, acknowledge by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. All right. And if there's no other business, we are adjourned.
Thank you.